Today we're going to be replacing the headlight motor and frame on a 1994 NA Miata. So here are the tools you'll need. You'll need a ratchet, an extension, a 14mm and a 10mm, Phillips head screwdriver. This magnet is optional, but definitely nice to have for the engine bay. The electric ratchet is also optional, but definitely nice to have. Before we do anything with the car, we're gonna wanna disconnect the battery located in the trunk. The last thing we want is that headlight opening and closing with our hands in it. With the battery safely disconnected, we're gonna wanna take the headlight out itself to avoid damaging it. And in order to do that, we'll have to take these two screws out on both sides of the plastic. Removing the plastic is as simple as grabbing on both sides, pulling out, and it should come right off. Next, we'll slightly unscrew these three screws to allow us to turn the metal retainer. Be careful as you turn it because it's the only thing holding on the headlight. Next, we'll pull the headlight out and disconnect the clip. Should be 2 tabs on the side. And you'll want to put this somewhere safe. Next, we're going to unscrew this wire holder as it'll give us access to the headlight motor itself. With that out of the way, we can unplug the motor itself. The clip is on the top part, right at the back. Before we disconnect any screws though, we're gonna wanna take out this ball joint. Otherwise, removing it will be very difficult. There are 2 points at which this joint attaches. You're gonna wanna take out the one connected to the motor itself rather than the frame. This will allow the removal of the motor to be easier. Once you do this, there'll be nothing holding the headlight framing up, so you'll wanna be careful so it doesn't fall on your hand. This is what the joint looks like disconnected. There are 3 screws holding this headlight motor on. One here, one back here, and one right there. Go ahead and remove these 3. After you remove these 3 screws, it should come right out. Now, if all you wanted to do was swap your headlight motor, then just follow these steps in reverse. But we're gonna go ahead and take out this actual frame and replace it. There are 3 screws holding this frame in. 2 are visible without the headlight motor, and 1 is back behind here with the coolant. We're gonna wanna take this out, which has 3 screws as well. 1 in the back, 1 right here in the front, and 1 just below. You'll want an extension for that one. The good news is you don't need to drain any coolant in order to do this. With those out, we can lift this up. Now we can access this hidden nut behind the housing. There is one last thing though. Inside the headlight housing, this wire is held in 3 places. So you're gonna wanna unclip them in order to take this housing out. Otherwise, it'll be hung up. The first one is right on the outside here. All you need is to press it in with your screwdriver on one side and kind of give some pressure, and then it'll release as soon as you tap the other side. The next place it's held in is in the back, right around here. You can see that it won't move unless I unclip this. So what you'll wanna do is you'll wanna get under, and it's the same type of clip. So you're just gonna push up on one side, there it goes. The last place it's held in is also at the back, but for me, it just comes right out. After you pull this cable all the way through the back, it's freed from the housing. Now we can remove those 3 bolts I was telling you about earlier. Switch to your 14 and get your extension, and now you should be good to take these nuts out. This last one's a little tricky, but as soon as you get it lined up, it'll go. Now it's free and we can just lift up. As you can see, I forgot one last thing, which is this headlight motor clip. You should be able to slide this straight down and these will release. That's how you remove the headlight frame for an NA Miata. We're gonna put this back in along with the motor and get it working. First, slot it back in, starting with this back bolt. If you start with that back bolt, everything should line up just right. With that back in, we can reinsert our wire and get it clipped in. Now we're gonna reinsert our coolant tank, which was those 3 bolts. I'm just gonna drop it in. With the coolant reservoir back in, we can throw back in the motor. First, I'm gonna reattach this clip to the headlight housing. It slid up from the underside and now it's locked in place. It's a good idea when you put this headlight motor back on to lubricate this area well with a high heat grease. This will ensure that the headlight motor has plenty of lubricant to move freely and won't get stuck. Now we're gonna grab our 3 bolts and throw this back in. Now we're just gonna get 1 screw in to get it started, and we're not gonna tighten it all the way. We're gonna get every single screw in its place before we tighten anything down. Next, we're gonna tighten everything up with your 10mm. We clipped it back in. Now we're gonna connect the ball joint. Now lift this up, grab our arm here with the ball joint. We're gonna line it up right about there. We're gonna just press in. So as you can see, I had one of these plastic parts break on me. Luckily, I have another one right here, which has the plastic intact. So we're gonna lube this one up and throw it in. At this point, with everything attached, we're gonna go ahead and reconnect the battery and test it before we go any further. No need to screw it back on as we're gonna keep working. So we're just gonna touch it to it and test the headlight. All right, let's test it. Everything seems to be working well, but we're gonna disconnect that battery again so we can keep working with our hands near this thing. Next up is this wire holder that we disconnected to give us more room. It goes right here. Next, we're gonna reinsert our headlight as well as the metal retaining ring. Get that plugged in. Now there's only one way that this ring will go. These are not evenly spaced, so we're gonna be careful about which orientation we choose. This will just be with trial and error. Yeah, I can see that this bottom one doesn't line up, even if those top 2 do. So I'm gonna rotate it to the right once, and that seemed to do the trick. Once we got it in, you can see this little slot. We're gonna turn it to the right clockwise, and this should lock everything in until we screw it in. Make sure each screw gets put in. All 3 look to be in place. Now we're just gonna take our screwdriver and tighten these down just snug. Last, we're gonna take our plastic cover and slip it back on. And what you'll wanna be careful for is these edges like to pop out. So you'll just wanna make sure that they're slotted in before you screw anything in. Now we're just gonna reconnect the battery. And we'll give it one last test. So that's how you replace an NA headlight motor as well as the frame. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. I'd love to answer any of them.